Odin and Gandalf. Gandalf is a character in a series of books by J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Tolkien was an avid student of Nordic mythology, and as a professor and researcher of Anglo-Saxon and related Old Northern European languages at Oxford University, he did a lot of in-depth research. The comparative and historical study of languages and myths was not only his profession, but his hobby. His research on Old Norse and Gothic is seen in his works, as he did not simply write a story, but also created mythology for his world. Tolkien was directly inspired by the Volsupa, finding both the names for the hobbits and Gandalf in a section called the Dvergatal. Gandalf comes from Gandalf, Gand meaning wand or staff, and Alf meaning elf. The similarities between Odin and Gandalf begin with their physical descriptions. In the first chapter of The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins describes a strange wizard who arrives. He had a tall, pointed blue hat, a long gray cloak, a silver scarf over which a white beard hung down below his waist, and immense black boots. But Gandalf looked at him from under long, bushy eyebrows that stuck out further than the brim of his shady hat. This image is an almost exact replica of the typical descriptions of Odin. The main source for descriptions of Odin come from translation of his many names in the Grimsnall. The standard image of Odin is of an old man who carries a staff and wears a wide-brimmed hat with a blue traveling coat. He is gray-bearded and one-eyed. In the second chapter of The Fellowship of the Ring, Gandalf's beard and broad shoulders make him look like some wise king of ancient legend. This comparison could also refer to Odin, as he was the wise king of Asgard. Physical description is not the only similarity between Gandalf and Odin. They are both masters of magical horses. Shadowfax is a gray stallion. He understands the language of men and serves Gandalf willingly. He was known for his incredible speed. Sleipnir is an 8-legged stallion described as the best of horses by Odin in the Grimsnall. Eagles also tie the two men together. Odin transforms himself into an eagle when he steals the meat of poetry, and Gandalf has a special relationship with the great eagles when he kills one and in return is rescued by them in the Fellowship of the Ring. Both figures sacrifice themselves. Gandalf loses his life in the fight against Balrog, saving his companions, and Odin sacrifices himself to receive runic knowledge. Gandalf's sacrifice could be seen as an exchange for wisdom and power, as he is returned to Middle-earth as Gandalf the White, a stronger being. This sacrifice is where Gandalf branches away from Odin. Tolkien describes his work as a fundamentally religious and Catholic work, unconsciously so at first, but consciously in the revision. The character of Gandalf lacks the amoral and sinister aspects of Odin. When Gandalf sacrifices himself, it is to save his friends, the hobbits, not in exchange for magical power. Despite the significant difference between these two figures, I maintain that there is no accident in the similarities between Odin and Gandalf because of Tolkien's research and use of other aspects of Nordic mythology in his work. Tolkien, like Snorri before him, reinterpreted Nordic mythology with a Christian viewpoint. The Lord of the Rings series has sold 150 million copies since its release in 1954, and the success of the books has inspired many adaptations, specifically 2 epic film series.